Banks and crypto starting to merge. We could see something big happening in the market very soon. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. I do want to thank our sponsor, and that is Tangem. Great place to do self-custody. And the cool thing with Tangem, if you jump over to their website, just tangem.com, is you can use their 3-card set. That's the one I use. This works, if you have never seen this wallet before, it's like a little credit card, and it works with your phone. And you can use this on the Apple phone, the Android phones. Very easy to set up. All you have to do is hit that little blue Tangem button, get the 3-card set right there. You've got a lot of options here. If you're a Bitcoiner, you can go there. If you like to play a little bit more patriotic, get in there, have some fun. The key here is get into self-custody. Get your tokens off exchanges and manage your own self-custody journey. Use our link down below to get things started. Oh, all righty, let's go over to another channel partner, and this was news for Sui and Sui Network. The big thing is now this is live on Phantom. And many of you guys, if you're in our Diamond Circle, by the way, we've been tracking a lot of the Sui meme tokens. If you haven't been tracking that, I'll show you some cool stuff here. One thing to think about when you look at Phantom in general is the fact that this expansion with Sui is going to get exposure to about 15 million active users on Phantom, 850 million in on-chain transactions, and almost 25 billion in self-custody assets. So imagine when you have a network like Sui getting ready to go into a Phantom ecosystem that is that large, along with a lot of these memes that will probably carry over as well. The other thing to watch is some of the things that is live on the Sui network within Phantom right now. Seamless Sui integration, so you can add addresses right into the accounts within Phantom. Private key import, you can send and receive Sui and plus fungibles over there. So there's a lot of features that are already built into it. It's very early. So check that out. The other thing that is coming, or that will be heading toward Phantom, is the in-app cross-chain swaps. We'll also see NFT support coming in. And then the thing I'm looking for is the trending apps. So you're going to be able to discover the most popular Sui-based tokens and decentralized apps out there. That I think will be a big one going forward. All right, and if you are following, again, by the way, if you're not in our Diamond Circle or in our Telegram group, get in there. It's really easy to do. Just join the link down below. And we talk about things like this right here. I'm looking at Dex Screener. I'm in the Sui chain, and these are the tokens that currently are pumping. And of course, we've seen everything from Agent S. We saw Tardy take a move. Many of you guys have probably already been on Blub, which is a big one that we've been watching. And of course, you've got even Sui had a 115% move. And then what was the other one? Oh, ADA. ADA was the one of the agents in there. It had a 22% move in the last 24. So a lot of good liquidity in there. The cool thing that I think you guys are doing, if you're not watching Dex Screener, I want to give you guys a couple of tips. If you're not checking the maker number, that's what you're really kind of tracking right there. Is that's how many people are out there in the ecosystem. Make sure and look at that to kind of get a good basis around how these are working. Always do your own research when you're checking these out. Anyway, let's get into it. I want to go into the first clip today, and this clip is Chair Powell going completely aping in on crypto. Take a look.
Our role with Bitcoin really is to look at, with crypto, really is to look at the banks, and you know, we think it's, you know, banks are perfectly able to serve crypto customers as long as they understand and can manage the risks, and it's safe and sound. As many of our, a good number of our banks that we regulate and supervise do that. You know, the threshold has been a little higher for banks engaging in.
All right, so there you have it. This happened right after we went off the live stream, of course, yesterday during the FOMC, where the rate, Fed rate was basically held at zero, so meaning no change. And of course, they announced that they think banks should be able to hold crypto. Of course, that, of course, coming and stemming out of the SAB 121, which has been rescinded. Wells Fargo is now telling advisors to sell the new Bitcoin ETF. So that's a pretty big deal when you start to see major exchange or major banks like Wells Fargo starting to go in this direction. Remember that Fidelity has been in this business for quite some time, and many others. Obviously, with the ETFs, you could go to BlackRock, you can go to ARK. There's many out there that have already started to move. The key thing here, I think, is the fact we're going to see so many new banks starting to custody and potentially sell crypto assets. The other one that I'm watching very closely is JP Morgan. And I want to play a clip for you that will reveal some interesting things of what JP Morgan's doing. Take a look.
2025 will be a very exciting year at JP Morgan Payments. We are launching the PayPad and the PinPad devices that will make our clients accepting payments even easier.
It shows how the client can check in with their face and also check out at payment time, never needing to touch their wallet.
All right, so that's new technology coming into the retail systems. We'll see this in banks, retail stores, all sorts of things. And it seems to be leapfrogging what is existing out there right now in the point of sale systems that are really in the retail centers. If JP Morgan is successful in getting something like this integrated into commerce, this could be a big deal. And just remember, JP Morgan, Onyx, the connection to Avalanche, you guys have heard us talk about this. This was rebranded as Connexus. Next generation financial infrastructure, that has been happening. And of course, the other thing you have to look at is what they're looking forward to, which is a ton of new products that are coming in. So lots happening over here on JP Morgan as they start to get into more potential integration into blockchain. I think it's going to be a surprise. We may see a JP Morgan coin coming at us pretty quickly. Here's another piece of news that I think is important. Of course, you have to look at the Japanese market. And when you look at the Japanese market, you got to look at SBI. SBI is all in on Ripple, all in on XRP. And if you look at this, Japan's banks are preparing to adopt XRP for seamless transactions. This is the CEO of SBI. One of the largest banking groups says every bank will use XRP by 2025. So I imagine we're going to see more integration into the Japanese markets. And of course, this will open up the opportunity here in the United States of possibly seeing some more banks jumping into this as well. The other thing that's happening right here, this came in, which is the CEO of Securitize. You've heard us talk to Carlos before. He's been on our show. And he discusses Ripple and XRP, explaining the tokenized treasuries, also going to be transforming the financial landscape. There is so much happening in this space right now from a finance side of things. We are about to see, I think, retail really start to move in quickly. Key here will be the banks. I've said it all along, is that banks are going to be a real critical component going forward. Other things I want to hit on, and that is this headline right here. Forget FOMC. Bitcoin price now has plenty of room to reach 108K. We saw the explosion yesterday of where Bitcoin came from prior to the FOMC. Of course, Chair Powell started to pump the market right after that. You can kind of see the move right there on the chart. But some cool things that they say here is all of this has been erasing that little bit of dip that we saw there with the DeepSeek in early week. And of course, a lot of people now saying, oh, okay, now we're good again. Banks are back in. I'm happy and I'm willing to go back in and reinvest. The structure for Bitcoin looks pretty good. So there are some things here, lower highs, that could be coming in. And I think we're going to see some trading coming into Bitcoin, maybe over the weekend. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Is Bitcoin in February, because February is typically very bullish for Bitcoin, which usually ends up being bullish for altcoins. But is Bitcoin going to reach, do we get to that 115, 118 range that Evan and some of the analysts have been talking about in February? Let me know down below in the comments. I want to see what you guys think about that. The other thing I want to get to is the comeback for crypto in general. Now, you guys know Robinhood. They didn't have a great reputation on the last one. Neither did Coinbase. There was a lot of shenanigans going on with, exchanges not being able to operate when we were seeing these, parabolic moves. Hopefully all that is behind us. Here's Robinhood's CEO talking about it.
A big problem, which is that if you're a retail investor right now and you want to invest in AI, and it's very, very clear that they do, judging by the market activity yesterday and the overnight on Sunday, you don't have too many options. OpenAI is a private company, over 150 billion valuation. It's only available to select few insiders. And it's not like it was in the 80s where companies could go public at small valuations. The IPO process has gotten cumbersome. Only the biggest companies can do it. And that limits opportunities and upside to retail investors. And so I think that we're in a bit of a strange place when highly speculative assets are free for retail to invest in, but high quality, productive technology startups that are generating significant revenue are off limits. And I think that we now have an administration that's crypto friendly and retail friendly, and we see an opportunity to fix this major problem.
All right, so Vlad's hitting on 2 points here. Of course, you got to remember that most of what Robinhood has been built on has been the IPO scenario, stocks, what the open market has been doing, and then they eventually gained access to crypto, and we saw a big run on crypto in terms of their growth. Doge, I think, would be the one that made them. But the point he's getting at is that the ability for small companies to raise capital, because what he's referencing is a lot of the tokens and projects that are out there that are micro market, really, that are doing so well and able for you and I to be able to go in and invest in those tokens on the open market, that all of that could be changing now with a very pro-crypto administration. And if he is right, that we could see an absolute boom in business here in the United States, especially if we get blockchain involved in terms of raising capital. And if they start to eliminate, I know it's going to take a lot to get away from the accredited investor, but there's a lot of opportunity here for sure. In other news, of course, you got to look at the crypto PAC Fair Shake raises almost $116 million for 2026 midterms. It's going to be a big fight in the midterms because this, of course, will keep somewhat of the administration in place that is going to be very pro-crypto. And I think players are going to begin to understand just how much of an impact crypto has and AI is having on the market overall. A couple points within the article is Coinbase, Ripple, Andreessen Horowitz all committed to more than 20 million, recent 10 million from Jump Crypto. Uniswap is jumping in as well. So there's a lot coming in. I imagine that we will see much more, especially as we start to see real integration coming into the market going forward. Big news though, guys. XRP made news again, and guess how they did it? Well, right here, breaking. Grayscale files for a spot XRP ETF with the New York Stock Exchange. So we could see some pretty cool stuff happening quickly. I imagine this is going to pump XRP as well as some other tokens that are going to be moving into ETFs as well. I want to go to a clip real quick because this is one that I think you have to address who's going to be the winner and who's going to be the loser in the crypto race, the arms race, because I think it has a lot to do with AI. Here's a clip coming out of the EU. Take a look.
On this matter that you referred to, and whether reserves of central bank should or could include bitcoins, I think there is a view around the table of the Governing Council, and most likely the General Council as well, that reserves have to be liquid, that reserves have to be secure, that they have to be safe, that they should not be plagued by the suspicion of money laundering or other criminal activities. And as a result, I'm confident that reserves will not enter, that bitcoins will not enter the reserves of any of the central banks of the General Council. I had a good conversation with my colleague from the Czech Republic, and I leave it to him to make whatever announcement he wants to make, but I'm confident that he's convinced, as we all are, of the necessity to have liquid, secure, and safe reserves. Thank you.
So a big flip there on Europe, and of course this being hit out by the EU Central Bank. And I think with Lagarde, what she's mentioning there is, I think there's been a little bit of run in with what's happening in the West because it's being so embraced. And I also think that it might be a scenario where maybe they just aren't sure how to maybe implement this. And there's a lot of freedom behind this that also is an opportunity, I think, for Europe, which they are now discovering through the MiCA alignment of how crypto can be regulated. So I think they're kind of backwalking it a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if they actually follow through with this or if they panic and start to move in quickly. Watch closely what they're doing over there. Breaking, BlackRock-backed Securitize integrates now with Solana to expand tokenized real-world assets. That's another thing that's happening as we see more tokenized real-world assets hit the ground. I think we're going to see more and more central banks start to take that step in the next direction. One other point I want to hit on is continue kind of the direction down the road on ETFs, because Bitwise just filed for a spot Dogecoin ETF. Now, I know people would look at it's a meme coin. Yeah, I'm not going to go there with an ETF. I wouldn't put money in an ETF like that. We're going to try to talk to them about this. We'll get Bitwise on in an upcoming interview. But it was an interesting response to this. And this came from James Seyffert, who I would say is one of the top 5 ETF analysts in the world. over at Bloomberg. Listen to what he had to say.
I mean, can we expect really just a rubber stamp for all of them, or will there be some pushback about, hey, do we really need a double levered bonk ETF?
Great call out. That thing was filed yesterday. I mean, so what we're seeing is a bunch of these issuers, particularly issuers that kind of go after the more exotic space of the ETP market, are pushing the limits to see what this SEC is going to allow. And I think it's basically going to be decided by a Hester person, that crypto task force, about like what rules and regulations are we going to have around assets that can be put in the ETP wrapper. I don't think it's a guarantee these things are going to get approved. I think it's likely that a lot of things are going to get approved, but they're going to draw the line somewhere. I don't know if that's going to be a market cap or how these assets come to market, or who knows exactly what they're going to come up with, but I don't think it's going to be a rubber stamp. All these things just get through automatically. And honestly, I think if that does happen, it might not be a good thing. It might be the pendulum, as you hinted, swinging completely too far to the opposite direction.
All right, so a couple of points there. A little bit of safety, I think, in general by the markets, and when it comes to what Seyfried is talking about. And I would agree. I think there's going to be a little bit of exotics out there, but we see exotics now that are already out there on the market in the ETF space. So there could be some that will flow into this area, because you're going to have a lot younger investors that are starting to look at these assets, these instruments. And that could open up some opportunities here. So don't completely rule it out, but I would say that it's probably a little bit less likely to see how this goes. If you take a look at the Bitcoin chart yesterday, this was the move right there. I'm on the 4 hour, so over the last 24, nice little move up from where we were trading right around 101 pre-FOMC. So some pretty big stuff there. So when you take a look at Avalanche, you can see it right here. It has a nice little recorrection. Sentiment not holding well. This is on the 4 hour, but when you look at something that's happening right now between Avalanche and Sui, and I want to show you something here. Take a look at this. Let's go over to CoinMarketCap, and you see Avalanche sitting there at number 12. Let me kind of zoom in on that for you guys. Number 12, holding about 14 bill, right? Look where Sui is, moved up quickly to 12.4. They could possibly flip Stellar and Avalanche. It's very early on what's happening with this Phantom integration. Now, here's the question is, why does Avalanche not maybe make the leap and do the same thing in the strategy that Sui has done in flipping over? Because Phantom is a very powerful, that tool set is a gateway to the ecosystem for Solana, which I still think is the critical component in this altcoin run. So a lot happening in the market for sure. Here's what I like you guys to do. Make sure and jump in on the Diamond Circle. Get in now. It's a great place to get additional content. We also have our Telegram group. We leave a link right down there. Join it. I'm in and out of there. I talk to people in there all the time. So you want to chat? Join that Telegram group. If you like email, join the Diamond Circle. We make it easy for all of you guys to get and be part of this whole PBN community. Follow me out there on X @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.